Look, have mercy on me, have mercy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to On The Bluff, presented by our good friends at Carmigo, the easiest way to sell your car on the internet. And when I say easy, I mean extremely easy. All you got to do, send a couple of pictures, answer a couple of questions, give some information, and Carmigo basically does the rest. They have a network.
Nationwide network,
A
boy.
nationwide network.
Yes, sir. Worry-free, hassle-free, but nationwide network of all seller or all buyers, I should say. And they're going to get you the best offer just about immediately. Very, very quickly. And they deal with all the paperwork. They deal with all of it, so you don't have to dive into all that.
Yeah, thank you for the save
Bore
there.
yourself.
Got tongue-tied on the ends. But yes, a nationwide network, say that 100 times fast, of dealers. They have great relationships with dealerships to save you the time from going to dealerships. So like I said, carmigo.io/onthebluff, you can get $50 off, and they will make it extremely easy on you. Take some pictures, answer some questions. They'll handle the paperwork for you, and they can get you offers in as little as a day. So once again, head over to carmigo.io/onthebluff for $50 off. Gabe Kuhn, we're back.
We are. Y'all sort of backdoored me.
No, we did not backdoor you. There were some lost files.
Lost files.
Yeah.
Never going to be recovered, huh?
Yeah, no, they will never see the light of day. Only us three will know what was recorded last week.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like that.
By process of elimination, it wasn't my fault, and it wasn't Gabe's fault.
So
That leaves one man standing.
Stubbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Kenny.
At least, he's owning it. I get you.
Yeah, we as Kenny said on the episode last week, the impromptu episode last week that he and I did together, we're working with a new setup, and the big fella either didn't press a button or accidentally pressed the button, leading to no audio.
I had to ask if y'all needed me.
Yeah,
this week.
Yeah,
I said hi.
Yeah,
hi. I texted the group chat. Hey, how are y'all doing?
You still need me, guys?
Yeah. Am I still part of the club?
Yeah. So we could have released the episode last week, but there would have been no audio.
Okay.
So probably wouldn't have been very pleasing just to see us sit here basically in mute. Yeah. That would not have been. Yeah. That would have been cool to anybody. So unfortunately, we had to do Zoom last week. Kenny and I held it down. We didn't want to bother Gabe.
Did he catch any of the pre-show? Did he record any of the pre-show before we get going?
Oh, listen, there is everything, but I have no audio.
Okay. All right.
So
maybe. All right.
Possibly.
All right. We have some outtakes every once in a while. I wish people would see them.
Every once in a while, every week.
They'd laugh their ass off.
Yeah, maybe like episode 100 or something, we'll release like a blooper reel. Maybe 50, who knows?
Okay, good deal.
But there's a lot of bloopers from the last.
When I'm 52 and we have episode 100.
Hey, it'll sneak up on. We got to 30 pretty dang quick.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, what'd you do this weekend?
I was at a man. Just saying, like I just turned 28.
Yep.
I am right in that sweet spot of everybody around me is getting married. We're having bachelor parties all the damn time. So I was at another bachelor party.
Yep.
This damn weekend.
If it's not a bachelor party for you, it's a wedding. Pretty much every weekend.
Yes,
lock it in.
My buddy who had to reschedule his bachelor party wants to have his bachelor party at the end of this month, and his wedding will be in July, so shortly thereafter. Man, I'm just loaded up.
Yeah,
nonstop. But I was on Kentucky Lake,
Camden, Tennessee.
Yeah, Camden, Tennessee. First time being out there.
Different spot for a bachelor trip. Not like your normal.
Well, they had a little setup, and one of the groomsmen has a uncle that lives out there on a lot of land, nice house right on the lake. So it was good little setup for the weekend.
Did y'all just stay on the lake all day Saturday?
Yeah, so Friday, let me think about this. We went to a little get-together at his buddy's house, had a bunch of barbecue and everything, and then Saturday we were out on the lake all day, which it's just like Pickwick, same thing.
Right.
Same idea, it's dammed up, and then you have the lake. So it was cool, man. I enjoyed myself.
Get back Sunday night? Sunday
morning. I was actually one of the first ones up. I was up at like 7:30 a.m. because I had an early bedtime. Well, early compared to them. I was in bed like 11:30. They woke me up at like 1:30. I'm like, what the hell are you waking me up for?
Let me sleep.
Let me sleep. But I got up at like 7 a.m. Rest of those dudes, I texted one guy in the party who was out. He was out late, I guess, partying at the bars in good old Camden.
Yeah.
In which
as you do.
Yeah. Well, but I didn't. I hung around at the house.
Yeah.
But he was the one who woke me up, and I texted him because I thought I left my keys for a while. Found them in my luggage later. I said, check for my keys. And I got a text back at like 2 p.m. He's like, sorry, dude, just woke up. I'm like, damn, man. It's brutal. I ended up getting home at like 10:30.
Yeah, because it's only, what, like a two and a half hour?
Two.
Yeah,
Flat two.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not
at
that
all.
far. It's
Yeah.
not that far. But it was, man, Kentucky Lake's a good time.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not
it's pretty.
Not much out there, but it's good little landscape out there.
It works.
Yeah.
It works for, just a
guys
couple
had
days.
fun.
Yeah, we
That's all
had
that
fun.
matters.
What about you? You were on the lake, you said. What lake?
Yeah, Sardis.
Sardis. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard good things about Sardis.
I mean, not really. I mean, it just is an old dirty lake, pretty much. Just
What isn't, though, in the South, really?
I mean, there's a lot of nice lakes, like in Arkansas and Alabama and stuff, but
all of them are relative. Like, they're muddy.
No. Definitely not.
Okay. All right.
No, we go
I
to.
feel like I'm pushing a button here, and he's like, you hear this, Kenny?
No, we go
He's
to
getting offended.
We go to Smith Lake every year in Alabama, and it's like one of the top 10 clearest lakes in the country.
Smith Lake is unbelievable.
Okay, then.
Yeah, you got like
I'm wrong.
Like Smith is nice. Heber Springs is nice.
Yeah.
Lake Hamilton is not like pretty much everything in Arkansas is really nice.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other ones in Alabama too. But,
Kentucky Lake's nice and muddy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Friday night, a couple of us just hung out, went to Mug Shots, had some burgers. Yeah.
Good time? What's
Yeah.
mugshots?
It's like just a
Bar and
and grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then we played poker Friday night.
Did you lose?
I lost. Yeah.
What's y'all's buy-in?
We just did 20. We just did
Okay.
$20 buy-in, and then if you wanted to buy back in, you could buy back in for as much as you wanted.
Oh, okay.
But we ended up playing so long that everybody was like, "Okay,
Well, that's
we're at a stalemate here. Everybody just go all
that's
in."
inevitable.
Yeah, it is. So everybody went all in, and
Somebody won on a pair of twos.
one pair of queens. But yeah, someone won it all. And then Saturday we went out to Sardis. My best Michael's parents have a boat, so we took their boat, and then this is going to be so complicated to explain, but his future brother-in-law.
Okay.
Brother
Okay.
also has a boat.
Future brother-in-law's brother. Okay.
So it's his sister's fiance's brother.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I hate
Don't
trying.
got you, but you got it.
The lineage stuff is always hard to explain.
They're related.
No.
Kind of.
No.
By marriage.
They
They're
will
gonna be through
yes.
marriage.
Yeah, they will be.
Yes.
But yeah, we had 21 people out there with us. Both boats full of people.
Rolling deep again, Gabe.
Always, man.
Always. Yeah, 21 folks.
I don't know how they ever get into restaurants, Kenny. Like, how do they ever get? How do they sit down anywhere?
They are that crew that comes walking in, and everybody's like, ah, shit.
Yeah, really.
They walk in, and the whoever's sitting them down, the hostess is like,
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be about an hour and a half, easily.
Yeah, so actually, I ended up going back at like 5 or 6 o'clock because I had plans that night to go to the casino with my cousins and my sister and her husband. We had all planned it
But you didn't.
last week. No, I did.
Oh, okay.
We had all planned it last weekend, and so everyone else other than me, they ended up going out to eat, and they went to one spot and they were like 2.5 hour wait. And they ended up having to go somewhere else.
Oh shit, y'all are rolling up 20 deep.
Exactly.
Lord.
So yeah, I was on the lake until like 5 o'clock. Drove home, like 45-minute drive home. Changed, went to the casino, or went to dinner, then went to the casino. Got home around midnight. And
Did you win at least from that? If you lost your poker game,
I
did you win a little bit?
I didn't even gamble, to be straight with you.
What?
No.
You went to the casino just to...
I mean, like I said, it is pre-planned. It's something that had been planned. Just family
So you just
hanging out.
went to the...
Just
showed up.
watch everybody else play.
I don't know what to say. That's boring as hell.
I had fun.
Sure.
I had a great time.
Sure you did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to spend money to have a good time.
You show up to the casino, don't bet,
Yeah.
you don't drink,
Yeah.
so you just sat there behind them over their shoulder watching.
Well, they played like virtual roulette and stuff like that. So it's like a bit.
I know. I get what you're talking about.
At Gold Strike,
I couldn't do.
It's fine with me. Actually, we tried to go to Horseshoe, but your boy's ID expired on his birthday 3 months ago. So they actually had a scanner and they didn't let me in.
Okay.
And so we had to go to Gold Strike because they don't have a scanner. They just look at them.
Why didn't you update it?
I didn't know it expired.
Okay.
I had no idea. And then he scanned it and he was like, I can give you 30 days.
You got me worried. Let me check. I have my wallet. I don't have my wallet. I need to check when mine expires.
He was basically like, we can give you a 30-day grace period, but after that, nah. And he was like, you're like 2.5 months. And I was like, okay, I'm going to Gold Strike. They won't care.
I got to say, that sounds painful. You show up to a casino, you can't get in, you're not going to drink, you're not going to gamble.
And then you don't
you don't get in, you go to another one, which probably took, 15 minutes, pack up the car and
it's right next to it. It's right next door. In Tunica, all the casinos.
Okay,
are right
I was going to say, but then you have to take everybody over to that one. You get in and you still didn't drink or gamble. So,
no.
Yeah, all right. It's your life. You can live it how you want.
Yeah. People call me boring. That's for sure. Let's not get it twisted. People call me boring, but hey, I have fun in these situations, so it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
But I was tapped out, dude. Like, I'm sure you were on Saturday too. Like, when you're out in the sun on the lake all day.
Oh, yes.
That's a different kind of tired.
The sun drain?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Like, eyes are glassy and red from being out in the sun all day. And then go to the casino.
I didn't get burnt, though, luckily, again.
You didn't?
Yeah, I didn't get burnt.
Did you
got
apply?
some good sun, yeah.
Did you apply a lot?
Sun. Yeah.
I did
Fair
too.
amount.
I think I put sunscreen on my face like 15 times.
Yeah.
Because my face will
Because I'm wearing sunglasses. I don't want to get that sunglass tan. That's the last
Not
thing
a
you want. You don't want the
sunglasses
raccoon eyes.
I do not wear sunglasses.
Kenny, can I get up and leave? What's up with this guy, man?
Hey, I'm.
He's got some.
I don't wear sunglasses.
I just don't like
I go
them.
to the casino just to watch. Like, what? What is this?
Counterculture, bro.
Okay. All right, man. I got you.
It's trendsetter.
Did you get a lot of gold stars when you were in elementary school in like kindergarten, first grade?
I mean, probably.
Did they pat you on the back? Were you like model citizen? Were you the line leader?
I don't think so.
You had to be.
I did hate getting in trouble at school.
Well, I didn't like getting in trouble at school, but
like it terrified me to get in trouble at school.
Okay.
It legitimately freaked me out.
You got me tripped out though.
I know. And then I had to take a nap on Sunday for sure. Got a mean nap.
Imagine thinking you're stronger than the sun with no sunglasses. Wear some damn sunglasses.
I've never worn them, so it just doesn't affect me really like that. And I have darker eyes. You know, people with lighter eyes usually are more sensitive to the sun.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. You got it.
I own some. I bought multiple pairs, but then I won't wear them. Like, I'll wear them once or twice and be like, oh, okay. I probably have like 4 pairs of sunglasses that I've worn a combined 8 to 10 times.
If I'm out on the lake for like multiple hours or out at the pool for multiple hours, I don't know. I have to wear sunglasses have to be on my face.
Usually I'm the only one that doesn't.
Yeah. That's not good for you. It can't be good for your eyes.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not at all.
Okay.
So then we capped off the weekend with a little pickleball last night.
There we go. Nice.
From about 8 to 10:30 or 8 to 10.
Pickleball's catching on in the United States of America. I gotta say.
It's fun. Have you played?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
In high school.
In high school?
Yeah, they used to set up pickleball courts for our gym.
That's crazy. I didn't even know about it until a year ago. I didn't even know it existed until a year ago.
Well, what is it? KD and LeBron all bought into the National Pickleball League?
Yeah. No, it's blowing up. It's taking off.
It used to be like an old person game.
Yeah, definitely.
Like older person game.
Definitely. It's starting to catch a young wave. But
yeah.
Like
it's
if you go, or last year at least, if you go to Cameron Brown or something where they're playing pickleball, mostly old people. Mostly old people.
They got headbands on and knee braces.
Yeah, they definitely got sweatbands on, but they are dirty.
Well,
they've been playing for a long time.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. They stand at the net
and they get those fast rallies going.
Yes,
yeah. Looks like Wii tennis. You ever play Wii
that's
tennis?
exactly what it looks like.
I
don't even know how their hand-eye coordination still works at that level, but hey.
Good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I hope I'm 65 and still being active
out there
and playing
in my
pickleball.
knee braces and ankle braces and sweatband on my head.
You get off your wheelchair to play.
Yeah. Wearing my SPF 70 out there while I'm just
it's 78 degrees. partly cloudy.
but still,
you got to have it.
I'm going to have like that. You ever see like
The sunblock?
The sunblock
The
where it's
lifeguard.
real thick on the nose. Yeah, that's going to be me.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Gabe. Let's talk about what the people came for. We've got some freaking news to talk about this week.
A lot of it.
Thank the Lord it's been dry for a month and a half, 2 months. On Monday morning, close to afternoon, Memphis landed its first commit since, who was the last commit?
Since that would have been Jalen Young.
Jalen Young, you're right.
Yep.
Last, let's say, higher profile commit since Jonathan Pierre, right? Because Jalen Young, it really did kind of slip under the radar, and it was news. I'm not saying it wasn't news, but
well, TFAL Leonard would have been right after.
They were all
close. They were all lumped.
Anyway, Memphis landed St. John's transfer David Jones, and I'm a big fan of this kid. He was at DePaul for 2 years, transferred to St. John's. The big question a couple weeks ago, or last week I believe, when it came up that he had visited Memphis, he posted some pictures on Instagram where he was at the facility. Was okay, this is a 3-year guy. Like, this is going to be a waiver guy. He probably, usually guys don't graduate in 3 years. So it was like, okay, cool. Memphis is recruiting David Jones, but will he even get that waiver from the NCAA? Will he be able to play this year? Parth tweeted out right after the commitment that he had done some digging and that he had graduated. So that he's immediately eligible, which makes this
impressive,
news,
by the way, too.
Yeah, definitely impressive to graduate early. But it makes this news way bigger because it seems there will be no waiting process, and you won't have to play that game with the NCAA, and you won't have to wait on the waiver, and you don't have to wait. Or this isn't a guy now that potentially could not play for the first 8 to 10 games, or not cleared until right in the beginning of the season, or not cleared at all and doesn't play until the following year. So what do you think, David Jones? How does he fit in?
How could I think anything other than besides, damn, hell of a job, Penny. Yeah. Penny just figures it out, man. Like, that's what he does.
Yep.
And like, this was quiet.
Very.
Like, usually you hear smoke. We've been talking about it. You hear some smoke. Usually it leads into something. Going through the Penny Hardaway era, it's always like that. This one was quiet until we saw him on his Instagram taking an official visit to the University of Memphis. And you say, okay, if he gets on campus, generally, like, the hit rate of dudes that come on official visits is ridiculous. I want to go back. I want somebody to go back and do like the official visits that have been taken and the percentage of the guys that actually commit after that. Yeah. It's ridiculous, the hit rate that Penny Hardaway and that staff have when they get guys here and they bring them in and they go to Penny's Nitty Gritty and do all that fun stuff. Yeah. They coastal fish at times. Like, they just go around town and have a good time. But no, I love this kid. 6'6", 210. Versatile. It fits exactly the mold of what they've already gotten in this class with TFAL Leonard Jr., with Jonathan Pierre. The defensive upside's really good. He's lengthy. He's got game there. Offensively, 13 points per game in the Big East. How could I hate that? Yeah. I think the shooting percentages leave a little bit to be desired. Like 39% from the field.
39 and 29.
And 29% from three. Like, that doesn't... the shooting, if you wanted shooting, this is probably not the guy you need to look at. But the versatility he has, could play the 3 or the 4. He rebounds at a high level. He's tough. He gets those sort of dirty, grungy minutes at times. Yeah. He did that throughout Big East play last year. I love the pickup. And this is, when you're looking at the transfer portal, this was like one of the top guys left that you could have capitalized on, and here we are. Penny's got him.
Yeah, and there were multiple big schools after him. So, like, some people, when they see a commitment, are like, is this legit? Is this someone that other schools wanted? Absolutely. David Jones was on a lot of schools' wish list with what he does, especially on the defensive end of the floor, kind of like you talked about. 13 points, nearly 7 rebounds a game, a little over assist and a half a game, nearly 1.5 steals per game. So very active player, like you mentioned, can play the 3 and the 4, has solid but not, outstanding crazy size or anything like that. So it's the perfect versatility pickup for them.
What, honestly, like, the mold he fits to a certain extent, and I'm not saying he's the exact same player, but, like, is this kind of like, and I know this guy ended up playing like point guard at times when he was needed to, but it's kind of almost like feels like a similar skill set to Elijah McCadden, with maybe without the handle that Elijah had and being able to bring it up the floor. But he can throw guys open. Like he had a couple of games this year where he had 4 assists, 5 assists, 6 assists. Like he can get guys open. He's really good at slashing, getting to the rim. He can put up a 3, although it's not his forte. He could definitely strengthen that up, but it feels sort of like a little, as a player, like an Elijah McCadden build to a certain extent.
That's exactly what Kenny said earlier. We did a breaking news podcast on it, and that was kind of Kenny's comparison to a guy that you can really plug and play anywhere. Like you mentioned, there was times where Elijah was playing point. There was times where Elijah was playing the 4 and was really excelling anywhere that Penny and the staff put him. And David Jones kind of has that same feel about him, that he can do a little bit of everything. And maybe even a little bit similar to Caleb Mills, not in play style, but in the fact that he may not be spectacular at any one thing, but he's really good, above average at a lot of different things. Yeah. Obviously, rebounding the ball, good scorer, good defensively. And to me, the point that it brings up, me and Kenny talked about this last week on the podcast. We talked about it today on the Breaking News podcast, and I kind of want to see what you think about this. With what Penny and the staff have done since day one of recruiting this year, we've talked about the center and the point guard.
Yep.
Neither one of those things have come to fruition the way that we thought. But it feels like this is and Penny's had this in the past, but this feels like the first time there's been a real true switch to positionless basketball.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what that is. I mean, 100%. You have, the smallest guy on the floor right now will be like Caleb Mills probably, and he's 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you have Jonathan Pierre who could play 2 through 4. You have Tiafao Leonard who could probably, depending on the situation, give you 2 through 4. Mm-hmm. You have David Jones who could give you 3 and 4.
At least.
Right, at the very least. Like, you just have so many versatile playmakers, good defensive upside. Like, this beyond the offense, because I think David Jones provides a lot of offense that is so needed, even though it may not be shooting, even though he may not be a full-time wing player or a point guard that people want to see in that role. It's another scorer, but defensively, this team is just like... Yep. If you're an opposing coach going into a film room, watching how long they are, how athletic they are, how they can get out and run, you're going to be terrified.
Right.
Because they can jump into passing lanes, take it the other way in a second, and go make that happen.
Yeah, the defensive versatility and upside.
They have so much that they could challenge guys at the rim, too. Like, they're just so... The length and athleticism is insane.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be, if you had to pinpoint it right now, that would probably be their weakest point defensively, is having a true rim protector. Right. I think their best option there is probably Nick Jourdain, and he's solid there, but he's not a true rim protector.
But you have a bunch of dudes that are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10".
Exactly. As far as clogging the passing lanes and just making guys see ghosts of just, bodies going everywhere and guys clogging passing lanes, especially with Tiafao Leonard and David Jones, like, they are going to be a terror to opposing offenses, because that's what they do. They're extremely active. They're long. They're athletic. They both can get up and down the floor. Like, when you visualize what this team could look like next year defensively and in transition, they are perfectly built for that.
Yeah.
Everyone that they have that will be on the floor at one time can get up and down the floor, can potentially block shots, can get steals, can clog passing lanes, can make, opposing players uncomfortable. I mean, just think about, we'll just throw something out there just because it's June and it's fun. But you got Caleb Mills at 6'4", like you mentioned.
Yep.
You've got Tiafao Leonard at 6'7".
I saw him listed at like 6'10".
Yeah.
There was a thing going around on his driver's license.
Yeah. So he's anywhere from 6'7" to 6'10". David Jones 6'6", Jonathan Pierre 6'9", Nick Jourdain 6'9". Like, say if that's your lineup, that is length.
Yes.
Like, you don't have a footer, no. But you've got 5 guys who can run, who can get up and down the floor, who can be interchangeable, who can bring the ball up the floor, who can steal the ball, who can finish at the rim. A lot of guys who can shoot. So it's just, I know we've been worried about these specific things, but like, there are endless possibilities for lineups if this is the direction, and it appears that this is the direction.
It goes straight back. It's crazy because like he gets this other guy, David Jones, and you did want to see like a veteran point guard and a 5 or like the position. Yeah, the positions where it's like, well, you don't have any immediate thought of how those are going to work themselves out. But we come back, we see David Jones, the commitment, and you come back straight to the conversation we had about Jonathan Pierre, Tiafeo Leonard, and Caleb Mills about the versatility.
Yep.
It's just straight. This whole lineup is going to be versatile next year. Now, offensively, it's fair to still have some questions about shooting and everything else, but you know what could alleviate that? If DeAndre Williams gets another year, man, via a waiver.
Yeah, that leads us straight into that because this has become a huge topic over the last week. Rumors started circulating last Monday that this was a possibility, and it was kind of a media roller coaster. After that, you had some people saying no, you had some people saying yes.
Munz asked his mom,
right?
And she said no.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that anyone was reporting false information or anything, but
but it was
back and forth,
conflicting.
So you had Munn saying no, and then you had Parth going through the attorney and getting quotes from him that it was happening. So then you're in limbo of like, is this for real? Is it not? And then finally everything kind of got settled in, and it was like, okay, this is real. Doc got a quote from Deandre himself talking about wanting to come back. And so now this possibility becomes very interesting. Penny spoke with the media on Monday about it and said that he feels like Deandre has a legitimate case. And, I mean, when you look at it, you get 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And he played 4.
He does. But here's the thing is like, in the end of the day, it's up to the NCAA's discretion and the NCAA's discretion only on this. So they're judge, jury, executioner, if you will, of this whole situation. The way it sounds is Don Jackson, who is the attorney, he's the same attorney that Penny had through IARP, and he's also done a lot of these cases with NCAA with student athletes where they're trying to recover eligibility. So this is a good guy for the job. But he's going to argue that coming out of prep, because obviously DeAndre's whole career is just wild. Like his freshman year was 23 years old because he had homeschool, then he didn't play for a year, then he went to a prep school, then he went to Evansville. Yeah. But the argument's going to be that the prep school coach gave him bad advice jumping into Evansville too early, and none of his credits
didn't transfer.
Not none of them, but not all of them transferred over. So he was a non-qualifier when he got to Evansville, when in reality, he probably, if he could run it back and he knew all he knew now, he probably wouldn't have jumped into those waters, so he'd have an extra year.
Right.
That's going to be the argument. I don't know how it goes over.
Who knows?
I don't know the timeline of the whole thing, because the NCAA does not work overly fast.
Yeah.
Right? So if he can come back, good Lord.
Yeah.
This team is right there at the top of the AAC. No questions asked. You have your offensive punch. You know where you're going to get it from. You have a guy who can bring along some of the young players that are on campus. He knows exactly what's expected of him. It's an NCAA tournament team again, and you don't have questions about it if DeAndre makes it back to campus.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. Most of the reaction has been positive. I think there has been a little bit of negative from fans, just because I think people are ready to kind of move on from what has been the last 3 or 4 years and have a new roster. But on the flip side of that, especially on the positive side of that, you get another guy that's coming back that knows the system, that knows the staff, that knows what it takes to be on this team and in this city. And I think that is so helpful to all these transfers that are coming in and to the young guys that are coming in, the freshmen that are coming in. So having a guy like DeAndre, having that leadership, because we've seen it throughout his career. Like every time they have on-floor huddles and stuff, like DeAndre is leading those. Like DeAndre is the one getting everyone where they need to be. He's the one that's telling guys what they need to do. And we don't know who that is on this team. I'm not saying there isn't one of those guys on this team, because I'm sure there is with the experience that a lot of these players have. But to know 100% without a doubt, you have that guy on roster. He knows Penny. Him and Penny are close. He knows how to get guys engaged. He knows how to win. He's been there. He's done that. He's been one of the best players in the conference. Like, that is invaluable to a team, especially a team with so many new faces. So I'm all on board for it. I agree 100%. With you. I think if they get him back, they should be an NCAA tournament team. We're talking about length and versatility and defensive prowess and offensive firepower. He brings all of that plus leadership and experience.
Yeah.
Like what he like I said, what he brings to this team would be so invaluable, and he does take that team to the next level. Like right now, as it sits today, Memphis has 1 open scholarship.
I can't keep up though, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But Memphis has 1 open scholarship, depending on what happens with Mikey Williams. If Mikey ultimately makes it to Memphis, 1 scholarship. If he does not, 2 scholarships.
There's 2 Hardaways on the roster too.
There are.
They could.
And a coach.
But I'm just saying, like, that could maybe go walk-on status, if you will, if they really wanted to free up another scholarship. Man, it's hard to keep up with.
Absolutely.
He keeps it. He's honestly, Penny has gone the route of keeping everything close to the vest now. He's not he's not leaking much.
No, nothing's coming out.
But isn't it crazy though? It's just insane to think Deandre
could
Williams
come back and play again
at age 27, coming back another year.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think, man.
How do y'all feel about it though? Like, does it make you nervous to hold a scholarship for somebody? That's what he's doing. He said it today. He said it on Monday. He said this scholarship is being held until we figure out the Deandre situation.
If it's for Deandre, no, you shouldn't even feel the type of way. He's better than anybody you could have landed on the transfer portal this year.
That's
that's it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You know, Memphis has 1 scholarship, and there is no player that is better to fill that scholarship than Deandre Williams.
I don't know if there's anybody in the immediate where it's like, why would you? Who's out there right now that could give you even half the impact that Deandre has immediately when he steps back onto campus? I don't think there's anybody.
No. I mean,
I would hold it.
Like we talked about last year, you could. I believe he was the 3rd best player in the conference, and we obviously had some debate on this, and a lot of it was just to see where he stood. But I mean, there's an argument 2nd or 3rd best player in the conference last year. Like he's first team All AAC.
Conference Player of the Year candidate if he comes back next year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like where does he fall in line in the conference? When you think about who's all leaving, like the guys that are gone, KD's gone, Taylor Hendricks gone, some of those guys that were the top players in the conference, obviously
now
different
FAU's
teams. Yes, different teams. John L. Davis and Elijah Martin are right there at the top. But DeAndre's still up there. Like DeAndre comes back, he's still one of the best players in this conference.
And also FAU was very much last year, it's team basketball.
Yeah, 100%.
You didn't know who you were getting it from each night. Right. So it's like with DeAndre, you knew you were getting
18 and 8 every night.
As an individual player, he might be number 1 if he comes back.
Yeah, he could be. And then you added something a second ago saying that's that offensive punch. We're not talking about offense anymore. Think about the way that these points could be spread out. I mean, you got DeAndre, a guy who averaged 18 points. You got Caleb Mills, a guy who's averaged, what's his highest, 13, 14 points. You got David Jones, who just averaged 13 points. You got TFL Leonard, who averaged, I believe, 9 points or so last year. You got Jonathan Pierre, who had a great year at the D2 level. Obviously, we don't know.
The back half of his year was 20-20, 20-20,
He could
points
easily
a game.
be a 10 to 12 guy.
Yeah.
So you are getting point. Last year,
part of it's pecking order, though, too. You have to understand how these guys are going to work around each other, and there's challenges to that.
Yeah. But last year, pretty much the entire year, the conversation was, we know where the points are coming from. KD and DeAndre, nowhere else. Most nights. There were times when guys...
Who's third?
Yeah. It was always... That was the whole conversation. Who's number 3? We don't know who number 3 is. If you have 4 or 5 guys that can go get 10 to 15 every night, that's a completely... I mean, that changes the game for this team offensively if you have that many guys who can go score. Maybe they don't have that one elite scorer like Kendrick Davis. I could make an argument that DeAndre Williams is that guy. We've seen him score in bunches and put up big games, but for argument's sake, let's say that people say they don't have that one elite scorer. I'll take 5 or 6 really good scorers on the same team. I'll live with that. For sure.
Now, I have to say on the show, when I was talking about this live, I guess I stepped in it a little bit. I had a tongue-in-cheek conversation. I was like, when is it time to move on? And people took that way out of context.
Yeah.
I was just laughing about it because he's 27 years old.
Right.
It's like, damn, And I'm not... He should come back. You can get more NIL money, and you don't have to deal with a Serbian winner.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come the hell back. Absolutely. It's better for you. It's better for everybody involved. But I did make that. I just sort of had a tongue-in-cheek joke.
Right.
The other thing I said that I think's interesting, and it doesn't have to do with just Penny Hardaway, but and people took offense to this. I had to clear it up. I feel as if Penny, over the years, we're starting to see when his back's up against the wall, when the timing of everything is starting to drag out, he seems to do some of his most crazy, great work at that point. And I said, he's acting in a little bit of desperation, but people took that out of context because they think desperate's a bad thing. Desperate's not a bad thing.
No.
Everyone in college basketball, because of NIL opportunities and transfer portal and how hard it is to manage a roster, everybody acts with desperation.
Yeah.
John Calipari has to act with desperation because now Chris Livingston's going to be gone. Oscar Tshiebwe is going to be gone. He's got to worry about Antonio Reeves, and there's nobody out there on the transfer portal that he can bring back because he's saving scholarship for Tshiebwe and Chris Livingston.
Yeah.
Juwan Howard couldn't land Caleb Love. Couldn't do, lost
Hunter Dickinson.
Jet Howard lost Hunter Dickinson. Kobe Buffkin's gone. You have to act in desperation to a certain extent. And I know Penny won't say it that way, but I think every coach in the country has to deal with it. But Penny, under the pressure, delivers.
Yes.
A lot more than most coaches around the country.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it time and time again in his career where I don't think it's been as bad as this time. Because this time for 2.5 months, we've been like, okay, what's going to happen? But there have been many points.
Well, but here's the other thing. I bet he... Because the Deandre thing has probably been... The wheels have been turning for like at least 2 months. Right. So I bet he was just trying to keep everything close to vest. Like, everybody calm down.
And that's what I'm saying.
Let's see if we can sort through this.
It's all public perception. Like, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So all the while that fans and media are speculating on what's going to happen, does he have a plan? Like, people are freaking out and starting to say, this is a lost season. Like, there's no way we're going to compete with FAU, a potential top 5 preseason team. And then here we go. Land David Jones on Monday. The wheels are really turning on the DeAndre Williams stuff. And it's just like, okay, we see the vision now. Like, we know you've seen it the whole time. But okay, we got the picture now.
It's crazy,
and it's starting to look. I mean, if you're a Memphis fan, like, it's starting to look pretty appetizing to what this roster could look like.
I do have to say something, and this is not a shot at like FAU fans and FAU in general, but as you get into the conference schedule next year against a team like FAU, I know what they did last year. I know they made it to the Final Four. But the Tigers only lost to that team by 1.
Right.
And people are just going to crown FAU at the top of the conference.
100%.
And I think that's fair. I think that's fine. But at the same time, like, people are going to put them on this unbeatable Houston-like pedestal, and I don't think that's the case at all.
No, I don't either. I think they're a really good team, and I think that backcourt is one of the best in the country with John L. Davis and Elijah Martin.
100%.
And getting both of those guys back is an absolutely massive win. But this isn't some unbeatable team. I think they're really good.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, they went to the national championship.
You should pick them to win the conference.
Yes.
But for obvious reasons.
But I think like you're saying, I don't think it has to be some landslide. And I think the reason it is pretty obvious. Like, FAU has so much continuity on their team. Memphis has none. So
if you bring back DeAndre, there's some continuity for you.
But I think that's the outside vision right now, is that, FAU's bringing back the majority of their starters. Memphis is not.
Yeah. I get it. I'm just saying,
I'm with you.
I see some of the national conversation on it. I'm like, I don't know if that gap's that damn big, man. I really don't.
I don't either. And
especially, you got to get back DeAndre Williams.
Yes, I agree.
But if that happens, that gap it's not that much.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's a solid gap right now. Do I think Memphis could still beat them? Absolutely. Of course, anything on any given night. But you get DeAndre Williams back, and that gap is very small.
Yeah,
I think it's,
and I wonder what the national conversation will be if DeAndre Williams is back. Like, where with what preseason rankings, if you will.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me this question. I think it was Parth last week when I had him on the show. He asked me how many spots. Let's just talk about a full preseason ranking, 300 some odd teams.
Yeah.
How high would Memphis jump with adding DeAndre Williams? Like, how many spots?
I mean, realistically,
I said 25 to 30.
I was just about to say 20 to 30 would be my guess.
That's a huge jump.
It's a massive jump, especially for someone who doesn't play a quote-unquote premium position.
Right.
Like, this isn't a point guard that they're bringing. This is a 4.
Yeah.
They're bringing back a 4. But when you peel back the layers, you know what DeAndre Williams does on the floor, off the floor, the versatility that he has. Yeah, 20 to 30 was exactly where I was going.
Now, last thing on this front, when it comes to... I've heard some like murmurs out there, and I know they only have one technically one scholarship left.
Yeah.
If Mikey and all that stuff works out, which it seems like they're trying to make it work out. Penny he gave a non-update today when he talked to the press. But I've heard sort of some discussions about, okay, if Deandre comes back, they would almost want Malcolm to come back as a 5 because I don't know if Deandre is overly interested in being a 5. But at the same time, you sort of with the roster they have, it would be kind of positionless where you could just put you could insert Nick Jourdain in there and they could sort of switch off defensive assignments in that regard and guarding the opposing team's 5. But have you heard anything like that?
I understand the thought process behind it, but honestly, with the way that this roster is constructed,
I wouldn't blame Deandre for not wanting to be a full-time 5.
I wouldn't either. But like you said, there's things to alleviate that. I think Nick Jourdain's the obvious answer because right now, as we're sitting today, he's your 5.
Yeah,
he is the 5. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is your center. So I think there's a way to get around that. I don't think Deandre would have to primarily play the 5 even if the roster stood pat because I think Nick Jourdain's better suited for that than Deandre.
Yeah.
Nick Jourdain is more of a banger than DeAndre Williams is.
I'm curious how this all works itself out because we say there's one scholarship left, but if I know Penny in this era in general, in a month we could be like, oh, they have 3 more.
Right.
Where the hell did they get 3 more?
From? Yeah.
How'd that happen?
No,
so we'll see.
It's definitely possible, but exciting times. Things change fast. We love that. We love to see it. We love to have news to talk about.
Yes, we do.
And news isn't only happening.
Come on. I feel the wheels turning on this transition. I need it.
It might be a little
Put it
light.
in my veins.
All right. News might be, kicking up for the Memphis Tigers, but news is also kicking up everywhere else. And we know who stays on top of it always. Kenny's constantly on the computer, checking it out. What's going on?
Refreshing Twitter.
Yep. What's going on in the NFL? What's going on in the NBA?
Yeah.
What's going on in the MMA world? So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from some sponsors. And on the other side, we'll get the Hot 3
This
from
was one
Kenny.
of the lamer ones, but let's get to the Hot 3. Carmigo makes it easy to sell your car while still getting the best price. Instead of taking your car from dealership to compare offers, Carmigo uses their virtual vehicle scanning technology to bring the dealerships to you. Simply use your phone to take a few pictures of your car, answer a few questions, and they'll share your car's listing with a whole network of buyers. And you can do it all from your phone. Buyers typically receive multiple offers on their cars in as little as a day. Plus, Carmigo handles all the paperwork. They'll even pick it up.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to announce that we have partnered with Coaching for Literacy, and you can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your subscription to Bluff City NIL is 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. Thank you for supporting Memphis Tigers student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy. Theme music of all time.
It will be changed next week.
Hot 3, baby.
I haven't had a chance. I like
Your thunder was stolen.
Hey,
I had to.
I'm down for it. Hey guys, this is the Hot 3. We're back. I don't feel like I can match Gabe's energy on that.
I had to. I'm sorry, brother.
You boys ready?
Let's do it.
Hot 3. Let's get into it, bro. This is one of the best NBA Finals. I have a feeling that this is going to go down as one of the better ones ever. Last night, obviously, Miami in Denver beat Denver after being down by a lot of points, came back. The second half, man, it's now tied up 1-1. What are y'all's thoughts so far, man, in this NBA Finals? Has it been as exciting, and do you think it's going to continue to be a series?
Yes, I do think it'll continue to be a series only because the Heat just have this extraordinary will. They just have
and Spo is all let's just call it Spo is an incredible coach.
No question, but that Heat team, it just defies logic.
Yep.
What they're able to do. And game 2 for them was really just 49% from 3.
Yep.
They were knocking down their shots.
They made 17.
Max Strus was 4 for 7 in the first quarter from 3 when he was 0 for 9 the game before. Gabe Vincent led the team in scoring with 23. I don't know if there's I said this today. I don't think there's any team besides the Heat that could get away with Gabe Vincent being their
leading scorer
in the NBA Finals and winning a game.
Yeah.
I just don't think that would be possible for anyone else. But they just have this edge about them that has carried them this whole way, and they did what no one else could do throughout these NBA playoffs, and they beat the Denver Nuggets on their home floor. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was watching today. Oh, it was Draymond and Steve Kerr talking about the game, and it's 100% true. I mean, when guys that good, know the game so well, know what they're talking about.
Can I tell you what I think you're about to bring up?
Yeah.
Turning Jokic into a scorer.
That's exactly what it was.
Yep, that's what it is.
And that's what Spo did. He was like, and this is all from Steve Kerr. I mean, I thought this a little bit, but I don't have the brain that Steve Kerr and Draymond Green have when it comes to basketball, obviously. But he was talking about obviously Jokic having 41 and 10 last night, or Sunday night. He went off. He was incredible, as he's been the entire playoffs. But Steve Kerr was like, Jamal Murray is the head of the snake.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that exact
It's the way that he explained it. You know that Jokic is their best player. Spo knows that. Kerr knows that. Mike Malone. Everyone knows that Jokic is their best player, and he's going to get his regardless. He's done it all season. He's done it the last 3 or 4 years. He's going to get his. But they are more dangerous when Jamal Murray's scoring 25 plus and shooting 50 plus from the floor. So let's agitate Jamal Murray. Let's not allow him to get comfortable. Let's not allow the role players to get comfortable. And that's exactly what they did. MPJ was terrible. Yeah. Aaron Gordon didn't play extremely well. Jamal Murray wasn't as efficient as he usually is. Bruce Brown was probably their second best player in game 2. 11 points, shot well from the floor. They just didn't have much outside of Jokic. And that was clearly the game plan. Let Jokic get his. Don't let anyone else get comfortable. Don't let anyone else beat us. And no one else has employed that tactic because Jamal Murray, 1, has been so good, and 2, no one wants to let Jokic go for 41, but it worked.
I think that the Nuggets can handle that, though,
I do too.
Because they can get into that two-man game with Jamal Murray, and Jokic frees up so much space on those pick and rolls and those little drop-off passes that I think you can get past that.
But they weren't there.
But what the Heat did was, we're going to single cover you. We're not really going to blitz you unless you get right there down by the rim. We're going to try to agitate you when you get there if Jokic is putting up a shot.
Yeah.
But all of the other 4 guys are just blanketed on the perimeter, and he has nowhere to pass it to.
No
so
outlets.
He has to go up and go get it for himself. I saw Eric Spoelstra after the game, though. Did you catch that with Ramona Shelburne?
Yeah.
Ramona Shelburne asked about making him a scorer versus letting him facilitate. And he was like, to the untrained eye, that's stupid. He just completely knocked it off. And I bet, if he was being completely honest, he'd say, I just don't want to give up our
game plan
here. But he said, to the untrained eye, that may be what you think. Well, to the untrained eye, if I just look at the statistics on Jokic and his assist numbers and his scoring numbers, when he scores 42 points per game, in the losses so far in the postseason, he scored 42 points per game.
Right.
Their last 9 games where he has 5 or less assists, they're 0-9. They've lost their last 9 when he has 5 or less assists.
Right.
During the regular season, when he had 10 plus assists, they were 34-4. When he had 10 or less, they were 14-17. Mm-hmm. The numbers tell you the exact story that Ramona was trying to put out there,
right?
And talk to Eric Spoelstra about. But he said, well, to the untrained eye, that may be what it is. No, that's what it is. If you make him a scorer and a scorer only, and you don't let him throw his guys open and get a whole bunch of assists and facilitate from the high post, you have a chance of beating them.
Yep. And they limited him to 4 assists on Sunday night in game 2. So I really thought a sweep was possible because the Nuggets are that much better of a team.
When they were up 15 in the second quarter, I was thinking that way.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you have such good game planning and players that are so bought into the system and to their role and to their respective jobs and duties that they've been assigned, then you can win games. And I mean, they outscored them by 11 in the fourth quarter alone. I think it was 36-25 in the fourth quarter. So the Heat don't back down. I mean, what they're able to do down in games is incredible, especially with not really having any high volume scores at the like. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is, but he hasn't been.
He's not really himself because of the ankle.
Right. So they don't really have any high volume
Bam's
shooters.
been pretty consistent, which I have to give respect to Bam because he's gotten knocked down a few times in his career in playoff basketball.
Yeah.
Where he's just not been himself game to game. He's been very consistent throughout the Eastern Conference Finals and now through the finals, the first 2 games. One thing I just can't get over though, obviously Gabe Vincent with 23 leading the Heat in a win in the NBA Finals, but also Duncan Robinson in that fourth quarter.
Yep.
10 points and going and challenging folks at the rim with his left hand just silky right there. I'm like, what in the world is that? He's been buried at the back of that bench all year.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, he just steps up. Those guys get their number called. They're ready to go.
He's been the unapplauded hero for the Heat this postseason. Everyone's talked about Jimmy and Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. They've gotten a lot of the shine. Duncan Robinson has quietly been very, very good just in accepting the role and doing what he needs to do on any given night. So I think we're in for a fun finals. I still think the Nuggets could take this in 5 or 6. I mean, they're clearly the better team. But when you're able to go in and still win on the road and now you're going back to Miami, crazier things have happened.
Here's the thing, like going into the Bucks series with the Heat, I felt the same way.
Right.
Like, there's no chance.
Every time.
Going into the Celtics series, I'm like, there's just no chance. I'll leave the Knicks out.
The Knicks, the Knicks is the only time. Yeah.
But like the Bucks and the Celtics, I felt the same way. There's just no way. There's no way. So I'm not going to count them out. I still have Nuggets in 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick by it, but
we'll see.
We'll see.
We will see.
I would not be surprised.
All right, Kenny, move us on.
All right, big news dropped. This is the second Hot 3. Big news dropped actually during the first segment. It was announced by Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN that our boy, Trip Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be joining the Team USA for the FIBA World Cup in Philippines this year, starting in August. There's a lot that we can get to with that. There's a lot that tells us about Jaren and whatever, but I want to get just y'all's initial thoughts about Jaren, a Grizzly, being picked to be a part of that team.
That's really cool, man. He's 23 years old. He's the VP of one of the VPs of the damn NBA Players Association. He's shown his worth. He's won a Defensive Player of the Year. He's a first-team All-Defensive twice.
2-time
Just
All-Star.
made an All-Star. Just one All-Star so far.
Yeah, right, sorry.
But like this dude at 23 years old, man, this is one of the more accomplished guys we've seen at this young of an age in Grizzlies history.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, I have said this on several different occasions. Not only is it going to be cool to see him play in the FIBA World Cup, but he, to me, when we look at the Grizzlies as a whole, he's the key to unlocking the championship contention.
Yep.
He's the key. Yeah, Ja's got the all-star, superstar upside. Desmond Bane is getting way better every single year. He's creating. He's getting to the rim. He's doing a lot more on the offensive end. But Jaren, with how much he does and bringing those defensive, the defensive schemes together with what he is as a rim protector, with how good he was to end this year offensively as a scorer, like he is, to me, like the key to really unlocking this thing going into the future. But you see reminders every day that he is that guy, that he can be that good. And this is just another example, him being right there with some of those peers he has on the FIBA World Cup team.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like you said, it's an awesome accomplishment for anyone. I mean, that's a cool thing for anyone that plays professional sports, professional basketball, to be able to do that. But for a 23-year-old that's not been in the league long, that some may have written off after a couple years because the development wasn't quite there.
And injuries.
You're right. And now, as you mentioned, someone who just won Defensive Player of the Year, was an All-Star, is trending to be one of the better bigs in the NBA over the next 8 to 10 years with how young he is and with how athletic and just the overall upside he has. So props to Jaren. That's awesome.
Yep, it sure is.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up about it, and we can get past this real fast, is just the idea that how many seasons has Jaren ended and having to go get some rehab, go get some surgery, and not been able to really develop. Do you guys expect him to come back? Obviously, he has no injuries. He's playing for the Team USA. Do you guys expect him to come back next season a different kind of player because of the experience he's about to have?
Well, the biggest thing is obviously avoiding injury there, and I'd feel a lot better about that. But he started this year, if you'll remember, like on the sideline.
Yep.
It was like, 15 games you had to miss to start the year. As long as he doesn't have that going into next year, you feel good about where his development will be, how good he'll be just starting the season instead of having to sit out and then have a ramp-up period and everything else. But no, I don't know if this gives him an extra edge,
right?
But it's certainly a cool thing to play for your country.
Yeah, I'm right there on that. Like, regardless of if he was going to play for Team USA or not, with him being healthy and, fingers crossed, him staying healthy throughout the offseason, I expect a big jump next year anyway, and for his development to continue to skyrocket because he doesn't have to, as Gabe said, start the year on the bench. Like, if he gets a full offseason and is able to go through camp and everything healthy and start the season healthy, I think we see a different animal from day one because he doesn't have that ramp-up period.
Mm-hmm. All right, good stuff. Let's move on. This is the third topic. UFC 289 is this weekend. Obviously, there was a change at the top of the card, but Amanda Nunes is back. She is going to be defending her belt at the bantamweight bantamweight weight against Irene Aldana. Mm-hmm. Some big fights on this. I think it's kind of a low-key card, but biggest fight I think of the night is the co-main event, Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. What do you guys' thoughts on that fight?
Respectfully, I think this card's kind of boo-boo.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kenny hit the wah-wah-wah.
Yeah, come on. I need the wah-wah-wah. It's a little boo-boo.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't great. But, Amanda Nunes not having Juliana Pena in there, who we've seen be able to compete in there with her, just hurts.
Yeah.
Right? Because he... Like, especially going in there. Would you like to be the woman who has to step in there against Amanda Nunes on short notice? Hell no.
Absolutely
You
not.
know you're just walking into an ass whooping.
100%.
Yeah, and Irene Aldana, I'm praying for you. I hope you can get it done. I hope you can compete. But no, I don't see that being competition. I do like Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is one of my sneaky favorite fighters in the UFC.
Just fun to watch.
I mean,
just
he
always has
bombs.
good fight. Yeah, he's not scared. He'll march forward and he'll throw bombs. And he's got really good jiu-jitsu that no one really knows about because he only throws bombs.
Yeah.
So stylistically, I love that fight. You got the guy with the most finishes and most subs in UFC history against the guy that's not scared of anyone, has shown that he's not going to back down, and has the ground pedigree to potentially hang with Charles Oliveira. It's just not something that we've seen a ton of because he's so willing to just get in firefights and stand in there and bang with people. So that is easily the best fight on this card. Like, outside of that, Dan Ige's on the card.
Nate Landwehr's on there.
Yeah, Nate Landwehr. So there's some solid fights, for non-casual fight fans. There's not a lot of big names on this card, though.
Where are they fighting at?
I'm not sure exactly where this
Canada, maybe?
Is it Canada?
Yeah.
Is this Toronto?
Yeah. They're not in Toronto. It looks like they're in, hold up, let me check this out. They're in Rogers Arena, which is Vancouver. They're in Vancouver.
So this is the first time going back to Canada in a while. I know that's something that they've wanted to do. So back in Canada. So the crowd's going to be awesome because the Canadian crowds are absurd. Like, they are such good crowds. So it'll be fun. Like, this isn't like a blockbuster card like we're used to seeing this time of year.
I'll be watching, though. It'll be fun.
Right. It'll be fun regardless. It'll be a good night of fights, but we've got some on the horizon that make me a little bit more excited than this one.
For sure.
And like you said, I mean, Juliana Pena falling off the card.
That kills you. It kills the card.
It wasn't an impeccable card anyway. It was solid. But losing that and throwing in Irene Aldana it takes a lot of the shine off.
We got to give some respect to Irene Aldana stepping in there on short notice.
Anyone that's going to take a Amanda Nunes on a short notice fight absolutely deserves props. But that is a tough place to be in, man. That is an unenviable place to be in for sure.
Oh no, that poor woman. I hope she makes it out all right. That's all I'll say.
And if you saw Amanda Nunes in her last fight against Juliana Pena,
I saw she was locked in.
Yeah, she looked motivated. She looked real motivated. That's Irene Aldana's only hope, is that Amanda Nunes is not motivated. But we've only seen that version of Amanda Nunes one time. So we shall see. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Not great, but fun. Fellas, we got anything else? Are we wrapping it there?
I think we're good. Man.
All right. Cool. We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening to us, subscribe also, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Before we get out of here, we've got to give another shout out to Carmigo. Head over to carmigo.io/onthebluff for $50 off. We appreciate you guys for joining, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On The Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.